all. So much of burden goes away when we are not trying to impress anybody with our humility or our holiness or our spiritual accomplishments, or how God answered my prayer. When I prayed for something, God did something. Just forget it. And if somebody else also prayed, then give the credit to him, not because you also prayed. Forget it. We really need to steer away from this taking credit for things. Secretly, we are taking credit for certain things, and that's what brings burdens in our life. It's a tremendous burden, I'll tell you this, to try and appear spiritual before others. It's a very great burden to always appear humble before others and to appear spiritual before others. You'll wear yourself out. Just forget it. Just be free from the opinions of men and say, Lord, I want to be humble before you. And gentleness, that's another thing. If you try to be gentle before people, you won't do some things that God wants you to do, especially if you're an elder. I know as an elder of this church and responsibility others, there are many things I've had to do and ask people to do, and I had to write to people which did not appear gentle at all. And if I was concerned about my reputation for gentleness, I would never have written those letters. I would never have taken those decisions. I would have let that church go to corruption. Oh, let it go to corruption. Let me not lose my reputation for gentleness. You will never be an elder in a church if you're seeking for a reputation for humility or gentleness. You got to just forget it. You got to live before God. I mean, apply that in your own level. You're not an elder in a church. Maybe you're a parent. And if you're trying to get a reputation before your children for humility and gentleness, they don't understand what humility and gentleness is. Your children will be wayward. You got to be strict with them. So Jesus says, it's in your heart, that's what matters, and learn from me. Jesus never, what can I learn from him? I can learn this from him, that he never sought to appear humble or gentle before people. He didn't wash people's feet to get a reputation for humility. Not at all. And we shouldn't be sweeping the floor to get a reputation for humility. Not at all. We shouldn't be cleaning the toilets to get a reputation from anybody. Lord, I want to live before you. This is the primary secret of being free from burdens. Because he says, if you live before me, you'll find in verse 30, my yoke is easy. My burden is light. The Lord never gives a heavy burden. Remember this all your life. Jesus says, my burden is light. Anything he tells us to do is light. Well, when you compare the Sermon on the Mount with the Ten Commandments, the Ten Commandments are so easy. I mean, there are even non-Christians who obey most of those commandments. But you come to the Sermon on the Mount, from the very beginning, it's so tough. And you say, Lord, your burden is light. It looks as if the law was light and your commandments are so much heavier. That's because we want to live before people. If I'm seeking to live before the Lord and say, Lord, I want to concentrate on what purity in my heart, that's all. I want to make sure that I love you with all my heart. And if I love the Lord with all my heart, I may slip up. It doesn't mean I don't love. Take the example of husband and wife. See, a husband may love his wife fervently and have no interest in any other woman and really cares and loves for his wife like anything, but he will still make mistakes. I mean, haven't you husbands know that? Many of you husbands, I believe, love your wife more than anybody else on earth. And yet you make mistakes. Yeah. Well, the Lord understands that. I can love him with all my heart and still make mistakes. But he doesn't jump on me for that. And I hope your wife doesn't jump on you when you make a mistake. If she sees that deep down in your heart you love her, or vice versa. So remember, the Lord looks at our heart, and we have to slowly break away from living before people. And very often burdens come because of that.